Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another Whiskey Wednesday. Here we are, midway through December. I hope everyone's got their holiday shopping almost done because, man, Christmas is just right around the corner, 2 weeks away. Now, tonight we will be doing week 3 of our Advent challenge. Stacie, Darrell, Kelsey, and all of our patrons who put up with me have submitted their answers. We'll be going over the week 3 pour, go through the reveal like we have been the last couple weeks. And as I was warning Kelsey backstage a minute ago, he's probably going to be mad at me in about 20 minutes time for more shenanigans, of course. So also shout out to our special guest tonight. We got Stacie from 4 Leaf Whiskey, and she has spoiled us with some Irish samples, some of which are probably the darkest looking Irish I've ever seen. So really excited to go through the spread that we have here tonight. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. Well, without further ado, we do have a loaded agenda for tonight. So let's get into this. But what I want to do as we go in, just as we have the past prior weeks, as I introduce everybody, I want to know what they also think about the week 3 pour as they say hello to everybody. So Kelsey, let's bring you in first.
Jeffrey is evil. Evil, evil, evil. I opened this up and I smelled it and was like, I know that I have tasted this before. And then it kept changing and changing. And I kept going from bottle to bottle to bottle. And finally I just gave up and said, okay, I'm going to go with this because I don't know. It was just, it was very interesting pour to say the least. It was good. I mean, I ranked it higher than the first 2 weeks.
So this one is your favorite of the 3 weeks
so far. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm excited to hang out and actually taste Irish whiskey as soon as we get over this bonanza of fun. We'll call it that.
Well, let's bring in Darrell. Darrell, what'd you think of this week 3 pour?
This one threw me for a couple loops myself. Couldn't tell if it was a rye, if it was a bourbon. Like proof was kind of like I don't know. To be honest, I think this is the worst I've probably done. I just took a quick sip before coming on and kind of got a vibe of a certain distillery. So we'll see once I maybe sip it a couple more times if that actually comes into play. But the distillery I'm thinking of is not the one that I put, so it doesn't help me any. But this actually,
at least I'll have somebody else mad at Jeffrey, not be mad by myself.
I think, like, I'm gonna take another sip. I think I actually know what it is now, which is kind of crazy, but we'll see.
We could talk about that process a little bit. You mentioned a few things that I want to deep dive into.
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring on our guest of honor here. Let's bring on Stacie. And Stacie, say hi to everybody, introduce yourself, and then let us know what you think of that week 3 sample.
Hi, Slacha.
Salancha.
This one, the second I nosed it and tasted it, this tastes familiar. And it was killing me. And I went back and forth probably 100 times. And it was one of those, I turned my answers in. I'm like, I'm probably wrong. And then I woke up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, well, crap. Because I had another idea that I think it is. So this one threw me all off. And Darrell's right. It was hard because I got rye vibes. I got bourbon vibes. I told you that first time I nosed it before it opened up, it smelled like freaking Gold Spot. Mm-hmm. So this one was all over the place.
Which makes sense to me on some levels.
Yeah.
The other thing that Stacie and I were discussing, but I purposely actually arranged the order of the samples that we've gone through, knowing who our guests were. and I didn't want to give Stacie a high bank sample, given that she's in Columbus. I thought that would be,
that one too.
that would
I have the
be.
bottle downstairs.
Oh yeah, who knows what would happen in that situation, right? Like she
Yeah.
either knocks it out of the park, or she starts bad mouthing it and finds out. Who knows what direction that goes in? So that's why I did the week 2 with the high bank as Chris's sample.
Oh. Yeah, like that's 20 minutes from my house. I wish I had that one.
I still think that was their own mash bill. I still think that it's not MGP mash bill.
No, all the Whiskey War stuff's MGP.
It's all MGP.
Not all Whiskey War. They have produced some of their own stuff. It's not always.
They haven't released it yet. They're
I
gonna
didn't think it released yet.
All right,
Unless
listen.
it was some
If you're
kind
not
of
going to listen to
special.
me, listen to Stacie.
Only because she said it, not because you said it.
Exactly.
I thought MVP immediately. Just gonna say.
You guys might have been there more than me. I'm horrible about visiting the Middle West and High Bank. They're both like 20 minutes from my house, and I'm horrible about getting there.
Oh.
High Bank more often because they have really good food too. I go there and eat.
I'll be there for lunch this weekend, actually. Now they are releasing so last week we had the double,
Mhm.
and
Oh, good.
Mash and Journey just came out with a double pick as well. So
Yeah.
gonna poke on that one. We'll poke on that one later too. But what High Bank is coming out with this weekend, probably be sold out by Saturday. But they're coming out with a double. We're just gonna double a triple stamp here. Yeah, we're just going all in.
Oh, the triple double.
The double is really good.
Yeah, that one was interesting. I still stick by bourbon or rye should have got points instead of it being
I totally agree with you on that.
whiskey. This guy. Coming else over here.
Everybody was on equal ground, and Ben appreciates me, and that's all that counts.
Mhm. Should we say hi
So
to some
let's-
people so we can kick
Let's
this
say
off?
hi to some people real quick. Then we can go over super chats for the night, and then I'll pull up my presentation, and we can talk about this pour a bit more.
All right. EJ is here. Cheers to you. They beat Norseman and Top Dog in tonight. Sugar Kitty, good to see you back in here. EMC, awesome to see you in here. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, yeah.
There's Top Dog, finally, in here after 5 or 6 people. Cheers to Douglas Papa, double winner last week. So hopefully you're doing well, and you will be doing well here pretty soon with all those samples you're getting. JG, cheers to you and your lovely wife. Tim Cornet, cheers. Glad that you are in here with us. Our good buddy OHIO. Little Ohio guys. Christine Vasco is in the house. Joe is here. There's my buddy, the Norseman, drinking. He sent me a picture of hot tea and like a skull and crossbones. I'm like, dude, you can't drink hot tea and a skull and crossbones.
Oh, is he
that
sick? Is he drinking a hot toddy?
What? Yeah, and he's drinking with Crown Peach. I'm like, that's just wrong on so many levels there, Jay.
No, you need calf strength for a good hot toddy.
Mark D is in the house. Cheers to you, Mark. Uncorked, good to see you back in here. Let's see. Peter White is here. Jerry Black, good to see you again, buddy. Let's see. Miracle Martinez is in the house. Peter B is here. Here's our good buddy Dusty Dan. And we have some fun picks with him coming up that we're going to tell you about in a few weeks, hopefully. Let's see. Ben Draman is here. Let's see if we're almost caught up. Mark Vasco is in here as well. I'm just telling you, the Vascos have been killing it on this stuff. I think Jeff sent them the answers.
I think so too.
We'll see. Process. If you've ever watched an episode of their show and seen how they talk about like their budget and things, they do the exact same thing when they go through these pours. And they showed me some of the like, they are ridiculous.
Taste and sensibility. Good to have you in here. There's Trev. Trev Kunkel is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Jake, good to see you in here as well. Let's see who else. Paul P. My man, I've been using that can opener. I've been addicted, y'all. I found a new addiction, and it's called Topo Chico. And I am addicted to Topo Chicos right now. But I've been using his big Bardstown opener to open all of my Topo Chicos at work. Let's see. Who else? J.A. Sales. the man, the myth that never stops talking. Love you, Jay.
Ooh, cold night in Massachusetts.
Yes, cold night, Massachusetts. It's cold
For
here.
no power.
There, but it is cold here.
Yeah.
Mark B starting us off tonight. You do see it scrolling down at the bottom. We are doing giveaways. Make sure you guys get in on that. Bill Reynolds, good to see you in here. Tim Cornet. Let's see, David Tonko. Good to see you in here. I think that's a new name. I don't remember seeing that one before. So
Yeah,
welcome and cheers.
Cheers
The
from
Whiskey
Cleveland.
Yoda himself is in the house. Donald Grant's good to see you in here, Donald. Russ L is here. A little old fashioned. Cheers to you as well. And Nick Altman. Good to see you in here. I think we're caught up.
We are.
Cheers, everybody. We got 64 people in here. Stacie, thank you for bringing all the cool people to this party. I know they're here to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Stu.
I'm here. Nailed week 3.
If this is hard truth, I'm going to be really surprised, but who knows? I've been doing really crappy, so it's very possible.
Well, if you have the week 3 pour, everybody in chat that is a part of this, and also you three, take a sip of it for me right now. And just let me know what you think now. Fresh crack at it. If you wanted to change your answer, what would you change it to?
I don't know what I would change it to. I know that my original answer was bourbon, and I switched it to rye. So I think I sent in some rye. I'm pretty sure I sent in rye. But it does have that characteristics of bourbon. But the longer it's set, the more I thought it was a rye. It opened up. First crack, I really thought it was one of the Discos or one of the single barrel Bardstown picks.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it comes across and the blend of it. But the longer it set, the more rye notes I was getting, not just on the palate, but just the rye spice started to open up. It's not like minty, but I almost got a dill note a couple of times when I was smelling it. The very first time, it's got some of the notes on it. So I was convinced more and more that it was a rye. Now, what it is, as far as what distillery, I have no freaking clue. I do think that this one came across hotter at first, and then it kind of mellowed out a little bit on proof. So I'd be surprised if it was under 120. But that's my thoughts initial.
This thing's tricky, man.
See, I thought it drank kind of at a lower proof. I didn't think it was that high. I would switch to a rye. I know I turned in bourbon, but I mean I would go with my second choice answer, which is also equally wrong. But I thought it was closer to like the New Riff 6-year malted rye.
I could see that too.
Because I'm getting kind of like a malt funk on it.
Mine was basically that, but the 8-year cash strength version, that's kind of where I went down. Like I went New Riff, I went freaking rye.
Yeah.
I think right around that same proof point. It's something that reminds me of that. When I first sipped it though today, it took me down the journey of driftless for a quick second. But it doesn't linger like driftless does for me. But there's a certain note that I get that kind of reminded me of driftless really quick. But I still go with the New Riff. It just reminds me a little bit more of that. How was the opposite, Kelsey? I got mint. I do get rye though, all over the back palate.
I get more kind of, I guess, like a eucalyptus more than a mint,
Yeah, I can see that.
like a menthol. Yeah.
I didn't get
I agree with that.
tannins the very first time I tasted it, but now tonight I get a lot more tannin notes on it, which makes
It's got a funky note.
There's a whole bunch about this when I saw the answers coming in where it was like, I didn't mean to confuse everybody. Seriously. But apparently I did. So we're going to go through this here.
Starts off one way and goes another. And that just proves the point that they're better at their palates than me, is that he was the opposite. So I'm sure he's going to get it. Mark Vasco's going to get it right. So we'll see.
What did Mark think it was, bourbon or rye?
He thought it was Port Light. No. He thought it was mint off the bat, and then it went away. It was more bourbon-y over the time. But
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm not really sure.
I got the opposite of that. I got bourbon at first, but at the end, I got start getting rye.
All rye for me at the end, bourbon up front, same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I got nothing.
Next time you win something, Mark, I'm going to send you another ounce of this. Now, I will say I don't do it on purpose, but I'm actually developing a blister from those dang sample bottles. Now, I swear I'm not purposefully over torquing them. It's just the way my hands work. But I did put the cap onto Mark's so tight that at some point it was just like, nope, got to give up. And the whole top of it blew off.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Now, luckily, he only lost a fourth of it. But I am getting blisters from these sample bottles, which is crazy. It's all the Advent calendars I've been putting together.
Benjamin.
All right, let's get into this. We'll get into the answers here. Everyone's having fun putting their notes out there. But, yeah, we can definitely see that I was putting people in all types of different directions.
OH.
It was
You got heritage distilleries on this. That's interesting. At one point, I did think that it was turkey because there was so much citrus.
That's what I thought it was turkey.
But the longer I drank it, the more I didn't think that. So
there was a lot of turkey guesses when we get into this.
GT Mustang, thank you so much. I nosed and sipped the sample on Sunday, but didn't put in entry until Tuesday. By then, I forgot what it tasted like. I answered anything just to get an answer in. Good luck.
Yeah.
So real quick here, for the super chats, we didn't even talk about that yet. So I am going to be putting up a Advent calendar, a 12 Nights of Christmas type calendar. I've actually already made it. So whoever gets it tonight, I will get it to you as quick as I can. And Matt, yours is on the way as well already. So I got that one in motion. Kelsey is doing a flight of Peerless. And Darrell, what was your flight?
Mine is going to be a Redbreast flight.
A Redbreast flight. Yep. Fitting the second half theme of the show. All right. Yes, so I'll whip through this here as we go through the presentation. We've seen this the last couple of weeks here, and we want to, of course, get to the delicious Irish that's laid out before us. We do have 17 competitors, plus our 3 panelists below me in this competition here tonight. Here are their names. They have been duking it out week after week, guessing things like proof, age, type, finish, state, distillery, and bottle on the blind samples that I provided. As of last week, we were talking about this a little bit just a second ago. The Vascos are really ahead here after week 1 or week 2. We will see if they can maintain that. Then we have OH, EJ, Big Vic, Todd, Ritter right behind. And then Kelsey and Darrell are in the rankings as well.
Dang it, man.
And now we're ready for week 3. Hey, cheers to Tom, and we will be over on the Bourbon Jerk tomorrow, everybody. So we'll plug that at the end of the show, but we're going to plug it right now since Tom jumped in. All right. Going through the answers. First on proof, we can see where the answers leaned. You know, we did really gravitate towards high proof. No one guessed under 100 proof on this. Kelsey was at 123, Darrell at 116, and Stacie at 101. The people that went high proof were closer, with Tyler nailing it.
Wow.
So Tyler guessed 122. Yeah, Kelsey, you almost got the bonus points. But Tyler did get the bonus points, and, man, he was off by a point of a point.
That's amazing. That does not drink like that proof. Wow.
22.
I hadn't drank anything that day, and it really came across hot, and then I drank something else and went back to it, and it was still, so I was like, all right, it's definitely up there. Cheers, Top Dog.
Cheers, Top Dog. So this was a crazy one, too, because we've had a spread of ages each and every sample. A lot of people have been thinking I've been putting Still Austin or Hard Truth and things. So even the 1 to 3 has gotten some love week after week. This week, everyone was concentrated in the middle there. 4 to 6, 7 to 9, as were all of our panelists. Surprisingly, and maybe they would say something different now, the answer was actually 11 years.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I get the oak tannins now, but I did not get 11 years of age on this at all. So,
The closest guess was
Not
9, with Adam Shelton and the Vascos getting that. Both of you got the bonus point for being closest.
Pretty certain I know what this bottle is now, but that's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Then we had bourbon leaning on the answers. 8 people said rye. Rye was the correct answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that we brought up earlier, and we've seen this before in blinds, when you combine the high age and rye in a blind, it can mask itself, especially when you get into those double-digit ages. If it doesn't overly give you that dilly note or some of the things we were talking about up front, the mintiness, the eucalyptus, if you don't pick up on that, that's where it can really mask it. Then when it came to not finished, we had a really heavy leaning towards not finished, and those people were correct. This was not finished.
Woohoo! I got a point. I got one thing down there.
Kelsey is really willing Ohio to be a thing in this slide after guessing Ohio.
I tasted it, and I was like, "This is that damn dark pumpernickel rye." So.
It is not, though I understand why you went that route. Nor is it Kentucky, which was the dominant answer. This is Indiana.
It just came across different than like that.
11-year rye, isn't it?
It's
What'd
probably
you say?
I think it's the OKI.
OKI 11-year rye, isn't it?
That's what. Yeah, that's what.
I knew it. Damn it! I knew I should have opened that bottle when you sent it.
We'll get into why Kelsey's now going to be mad at me in just a moment here. But rating-wise, this was actually probably the highest average rating of all 3 samples. It had less of the extremities, where some of the prior samples actually had people that were hitting things like 5, hitting things like 10. On this sample, nearly everyone was kind of the 7 to 8 range. So when it came to a raw average, this would be the favorite collective sample of the 3 thus far. We had some distillery guesses here across the board. The correct one was MGP, which goes to Top Dog and Top Dog only.
Wow.
Wow.
Well done.
Great job there, John.
So 4 people said Indiana.
Good guess, John. Did you get anything else right, John?
A lot of people said Hard Truth,
Yeah.
just like Stu was leading to. And then when it came to the bottle guesses, notice all the wild turkey that was popping up. You mentioned that earlier in our intro, and we got that in all the answers too. There were about 7 people who said wild turkey and various versions of wild turkey.
Yeah, the only turkey I had in the house was a Saffel, so that's what I was comparing it to. But
that's the only
that's
one?
crazy.
Gosh.
I need to send you some wild turkey.
It was a rough Thanksgiving. We don't have any more.
The shirt survived, though.
The shirt survived.
So, the bottle guess was the OKI 11-year rye. This is a single barrel by me coming from the store Revival. And I really wanted people to try this one. I know we've been talking up these 11-year ryes across the board. Now, I wouldn't necessarily classify this one as my favorite compared to the Nebco or the Traverse City or some other ones that we pushed out there, but they seem to be all along the same family. So I did want people to experience this. Thus, I put it in the flight. Unwittingly, I also gave this to Kelsey for his birthday. And I realized I sent him the sample, and then 2 weeks later, I sent him the bottle, and I was like, oh no, I've really stacked the deck for Kelsey. So then when Kelsey sent me a text message like, this is really familiar, I was like, I wonder why.
And I almost opened the bottle that same night. And I didn't because I was like, I should probably save that for another time. And now I'm mad at myself because I would have known what it was.
Oh, I would have been. Everyone would have been yelling at me again that I stacked the deck. This time for you, though, Kelsey. I almost tried, Kelsey. Give me the benefit of the doubt. So the score on this one, all the scores are actually relatively low on this one, where we've had scores all the way up to 15.
Hey, look, I almost got the high score.
This one threw everyone for a loop. So, Tyler, I think you were excited earlier, and you did come in first place this week with 8 points. Stu, you were right behind, just picked the wrong Indiana distillery.
So I want
Otherwise-
to know, did the Vascos score like 1 or 2 points so that I can at least feel better about myself?
The Vascos were tied at the 5-point mark with a couple other people.
At least I beat the Vascos. Okay.
You did. You came in. You tied for second this week, Kelsey. So thank you so much for everybody participating in week 3. I didn't mean to throw you all for a loop, but also know from experience that those high aged ryes can be very tricky blind.
Yeah.
So then adding all the scores together, close the gap a little bit on the Vascos. Vascos at 31, OH at 24, EJ at 22, Tyler at 22, and Big Vic at 20.
Oh,
Now-
Ed. Dang, dude.
Oh, wow. Oh, Ed, thank you so much, buddy.
You're so awesome.
Ed.
Ed. Thank you, buddy.
Oh.
Thank you, Mark, as well. The funny part is he probably thought he was doing something nice by letting everybody try this.
That seems like a different shirt idea, Kelsey, right next to the Mr. Rogers one.
I totally agree.
So, with this in mind and where the standings are, I'm not going to count anybody out, and I'm not going to say the Vascos can't be caught at this point. But what I am going to do is I'm going to throw in a second prize to be revealed next week to our second place team, just to make sure that everybody in this log jam within about 6 points of each other knows that there's something to compete for next week. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to have a prize for first place, which is going to be the 4-gate. And then the prize for second place, which is a bottle that I'll reveal next week, even though I do have it right over there.
Oh, man.
All right. One last shout out here, and then let's get to the next part of our show. But working on getting that link ready for that Hard Truth single barrel. Excited to get this one in everyone's hands. It's going to be going through Sealbach once we have all the details ready for that link to drop. So every week we'll just keep you up to date, but it's a week-to-week game at this point.
Oh, man, big boy.
So keep an eye out there for the Franchi bunch dropping here. Real excited to get some Hard Truth in everyone's hands. And as much as everyone guessed Hard Truth on all the blind samples, I think you're excited too.
No, don't push the button.
Hey, Kai.
Aww.
Hey, they're saying hi to you.
Hey.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. All right.
He's getting his daddy's like cut eye look there. He's cutting his eyes up. Oh my gosh, he's so freaking cute.
Aw. Now he's getting shy. Aw.
Well, Stacie, you were very, very kind, and you sent us a awesome box to go over during the show. Why don't I turn it over to you here, and why don't you walk us through what you would like us to pour first as we go through the second half?
Sure. Well, you invited me on the show, so of course I gotta send you guys some whiskey to drink along. So the first one is, this is just a source whiskey, but honestly, it was one of our favorite visits over in Ireland on our trip a couple months ago, and it's Copeland.
Okay.
So this one is just a blended whiskey of malt, grain. It's a Barolo cask finish, 46% ABV. It is one of the smallest distilleries in Ireland. This one's out on the coast in Donaghadee in County Down. And we had such a fun time there. So we got there on this huge tour bus, and they greet us with Irish coffee as soon as we got off. That was a common thing. They were throwing drinks at you left and right. Load us up on coffee, and then we go out onto the dock next to the lighthouse, and we get on these little fishing boats. And I mean, they're probably like 12-man fishing boats where you had all the poles at the back, and take us out around Copeland Islands. And I can tell you that I can take 2 Dramamine and drink alcohol and be fine. Learned that day. Because until you got out the island, it was like, it was a bit choppy.
Ooh.
So the island is uninhabited anymore, but it was a big spot for smugglers, for the pirates to smuggle in and out of Scotland and Ireland right there. So they're really kind of embracing their maritime history at Copeland. And it was really cool because it's actually only, I think, 14 miles from the coast of Scotland, and it was clear enough you could see Scotland from the boat.
Oh, wow.
Still.
So it was all I could do to keep my husband on the boat so he didn't like swim for Scotland because he's a big Scotch guy. He absolutely loved it.
Tell me about the cask.
So this is a Barolo cask.
Barolo.
So this is still their sourced whiskey. They did not open until, I think it was 2013 when they started distilling, or maybe 2016. And they crowdsourced all their funds to start their distillery. Now, they just released last week the first bottle, their first cask of their own distillate. And it's a 5-year chocolate malt. And they're one of the only Irish whiskey distilleries that I know of that's using chocolate malt. I'm like, and we got to try some. So we packed in after the tasting, went over to their warehouse, which is a few miles down the road. And they busted open all these new make casks for us to try. And it was such a good time. We got to try their rye. They're doing quite a few things with crystal malt, chocolate malt, and it's their stuff that they're producing is really delicious. We bought one of everything when we were there, and I kind of like this one. I like a red wine finish myself. This is a little tannic at the end, but I kind of like a red wine finish. As a daily sipper, I like it.
Is this age stated, Stacie?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No, and this is all sourced from Great Northern.
And you said this is a wine finished, a Barolo?
Barolo, yes, Barolo cask.
That's Italian, right?
Yes, I believe so. I couldn't tell you a whole lot about it, but that is an Italian wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so if you go over to, it's a little out of the way to get to Copeland. Donegal is such a cute little town. It's just a little fishing village. The other really cool thing, so when we came back off the boat, we climbed up onto the seawall, and they had another pour of whiskey for us, straight whiskey in a cup, and they are shucking oysters fresh that they caught from the sea on the seawall. So we're there with brown bread and oysters and conkles, and they're just standing there shucking them. One of the people in our party jumped in. He's from New England, jumped in and helped out. So that was really cool. I mean, you'll get much fresher seafood than that.
That sounds like such a cool experience. I hope to do that someday.
It was really cool. So we stayed all up in Northern Ireland. We were based in Belfast for the week, and we visited 7 distilleries in 6 days.
7 and 6 days, you said?
7 and 6 days, yeah.
Damn. It's a lot of distilleries.
And they shut down, like Copeland was one of the ones they closed to the public that day and just welcomed the tour in and pulled a lot of samples from the cask that week.
I'm not doing it again so you can laugh at me, JG. This has such an interesting nose to me.
The nose is fabulous. Yeah.
It's got that briny, sea salty hint to it.
And they kind of embrace that as part of what they're doing there, because I mean, I'm not kidding, they are half a block off of the water.
I really enjoy that because it adds such a different depth than Irish than I'm used to.
You're being silly,
man.
I get a lot of that malt though and citrus punch up front.
I get a lot of citrus on this. Yeah,
the palate though is like super
honey and citrus,
heavy, but it's like creamy and thick, like going off of our Advent, right? Like that rye hits you. I don't want to say it's thin, but this actually feels like it has like a heavier texture to the actual whiskey on the mouth versus that rye that we just drank.
Well, and I think it's some of it is the malt that's in this because it's double distilled malt. So that tends to be a little heavier, a little richer.
Darrell, do you get coffee at all at the end of the finish?
No.
I do get dark chocolate.
I was going to say there's a dark chocolate, almost coffee for me at the end of this.
So this is grain whiskey, virgin oak cask, recharred virgin oak, double distilled bourbon barrel, Triple, and there is some triple distilled malt Oloroso sherry cask, and it was finished for 8 months in the Barolo.
Yeah,
There's
literally
a lot
the
going on in
label.
that.
I hadn't read that. We're just like, I'll take one of these, and I'll take one of these, and
I know what note. Yeah, that note at the tail end is what you're saying. But for me,
Yeah.
it's not coffee. It's more. Kai's like lifting up my shirt and like going on my freaking sides. I know exactly what you're saying. For me, it's not coffee though. Maybe more so on like the actual dark chocolate versus coffee when we say chocolate. But yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah, because I don't get like that. When I get coffee, it's usually that burnt like bean, and I just don't dig that. But that's not on this at all.
No, this is more dark chocolate. And Giselle, you're right. You do get raisins on this a little bit.
Yep. Jonathan was going right where I'm going. When we go to like plays at our local playhouse, we get bags of dark chocolate covered raisins, and that's what it's reminding me of.
Just give
each
me the
time on the
Raisinets. Raisinette candy, man. I used to eat those at the movie theaters. So good. Oh man.
This is one I would like to sit down with for an hour and just smell and taste it and see how nuanced it gets.
I liked this one. This one and the single grain they have. Of the three that they had, they also have a blended, and it's what they released, to try to make your money to actually be able to make your own whiskey. And they've got this. They've got some overproof rum that they've done. They did a release 2 years ago where they took their whiskey at cask strength and finished it in that Bordeaux rum cask that they of their rum that they produced, and that one was really good. I was hoping they would have more of that there, but they're like, we sold the last of it like a couple months ago. Like, shucks.
I recently had a Bordeaux finished bourbon, and it was absolutely stellar. And I don't drink wine unless it's like a super sweet wine. But I love wine finished whiskeys outside of like Zinfandel. I had a Zinfandel finished whiskey, and it wasn't up my alley, but give me all the red wine and cab, all that stuff.
Zinfandel can dry it out really easy.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I got a Zinfandel Foursquare that is my least favorite Foursquare, and it was a Zinfandel.
I remember that release.
What was the brand? God, I want to say it's a Beam. God, they came out with a Cabernet. Oh, actually, no. It was the Haystack. Haystack had a Zinfandel.
Haystack. Yes.
And I love, that's like 12-year, 13-year MGP, and the Zinfandel one wasn't good. Like, it just took over it.
Chateau Montelena is a Zinfandel cask.
Oh,
that's my least favorite of the spots, yeah.
That's a green spot, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the Zinfandel I can't do. Outside of that, give me all the red wines and good to go with those. As I look at this PX sherry sample, like, oh my God.
Yeah, I thought you guys would probably look twice at that one. Like, bourbon?
Like, that thing is so dark. Oh, man.
I noticed, Stacie, on a lot of these, I think the last one or another one that you sent me was acacia wood.
Yes, that's our next port, yeah.
And I didn't realize that Irish whiskey liked to do that type of wood finish, because really you don't hear of very many people using that wood at all that I know of in the States at all. But
that's one of the good things about Irish that I enjoy is the variety. They're not really hemmed in by many requirements as far as the cask, and you can use any kind of wood type. You can use, it just has to be in a cask. So Bushmills has done an acacia, Method Madness has done an acacia, Killowan's done an acacia. So there's a few of them floating around. This one I picked up for you. I wanted to share this one with you guys. This is actually a distillery exclusive. So this is Bushmills that is finished in acacia wood.
Yeah. Looks really
got some color on it.
Yeah.
This one is 47% ABV, distilled in 2008. So we visited Bushmills, and we didn't actually see the old Bushmills distillery. We got a very special tour of the brand new Causeway distillery.
Oh wow!
So it is the brand new distillery on the grounds at Bushmills. We were one of the first tour groups outside of media to see it. The other very special part of that was our tour guide. Our tour guide was Alex Thomas, the master blender at Bushmills. So she actually led us around that day. We got all over the place at that distillery. She took us on every square inch. She said you could take pictures, whatever you want. And we got to go in the control room, sit behind the computers with stuff on the screen. Have at it.
I dig
Did you
that. I
start
like
pressing
the
all the
nose.
buttons then when you were behind the computer screen?
I pretended to because I'm like, I don't want to break something and make her mad.
This nose is
Yeah.
really, really good. It's so much for me like richer and darker. You're not
Yeah,
really
this
getting
one
that
is a good one.
super
This
bright
is
citrus that you did
one
on
of my
A.
favorites. So this was one of 4 bottles I think I got at Bushmills. We dropped a little bit of money at Bushmills. That we got the new and Alex was there. She was autographing anything you wanted. So I've got like the Causeway, the 20-year Causeway from last year that she signed the bottle for me. And one of the cool things was actually on our walk up to the Causeway Distillery, they've got all these casks just stacked. And I mean, it looks like a city block, like 4 pallets high of casks, bourbon barrels, of sherry butts, of hogsheads. And we're all asking her, like, well, aren't you concerned about the weather? You know, if you're just leaving casks out here. She said they won't be there that long. That is a 5-week supply for them.
Oh crap.
It was unreal. So I did a short, you could kind of see some of it in the pictures, but I'm going to do just another video on that. But it was just amazing the amount of casks that Bushmills goes through just in 5 weeks.
That's nuts. This
It's
sticker
crazy.
slaps, too. Holy-
Crazy.
This nose is both of
Isn't it
these
beautiful?
are crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah, this nose. So I haven't nosed the rest, but this is definitely a superior nose than A.
Yeah.
I haven't sipped it yet, but holy crap. It's just more.
Little older.
You get that for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot
What's
more
the
depth.
what's the wood that you were referring to here?
It's acacia wood.
So
Acacia.
it's overseas, typically grown in very dry climates. Like the reason I know it because it's mentioned in the Bible a lot. So these were the type of trees that grow in very high and dry climates, but they're also very cool looking trees, like the way that they're grown too, if I remember correctly. And it's cool that they're being used because, to be honest with you, I would have never thought anybody would have made cask out of it for any reason, but it's fun. This is way more rich to me, like just dense, rich. This almost smells to me more like a Speyside Scotch than an Irish whiskey.
It does give you Scotchy vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. It has a similar mouthfeel though to A. Definitely tastes different, but
Yeah.
palate experience is very similar. The nose though on this is just killer.
And I get kind of Scotchy vibes on Bushmills in general. I don't know if it's their water, but I get a little bit of kind of like a mineralic taste to it.
Is this
And I
all
seem to get
single
that on a
malt?
lot of their stuff.
Is this one all single malt?
I believe this is all single malt. Yes, this is all single malt.
Okay.
I thought
And
it
the
was.
first one was blended, right?
The
With grain?
first one was a blend of double distilled malt, triple distilled malt, and single grain.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely pick up the malt on this, which is probably bringing us down that Scotchy vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, the only bad thing about this one is it is a distillery exclusive, but if you go to the distillery, they usually have these in abundance. You can buy them, and they're not, I think it was like 60 pounds, 65
Okay.
pounds. So it wasn't anything crazy.
Are they 700s or 750s?
700s.
700s. Yeah. A little less whiskey.
Yep.
That's one thing that I will notice a difference in Scotch and Irish whiskeys from bourbon is that there's very few bourbons that are to the point where I just want to sit down and smell them all the time. Whereas with Scotch and Irish whiskeys, I can sit down and play with them and drop a water and it changes completely and just play with it and have fun with it. Whereas bourbon, it's not like that. There's something about that malt that provides a very different experience for me that I really enjoy.
Well, and I've said this on my channel. I think actually Irish and Scotch take to finishing better. Finishing bourbon's hard. It's hard to get that right. I think bourbon's just got such a dominant, flavor to it already. It's tricky to get that where it's not over finished. To have the finish still come through, but not be overdone.
Agreed.
I think
wonder if that's just
Irish
as much
and Scotch
climate.
provide a better palate.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think climate affects that, obviously, with how long you can leave it in the cask.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that the malt has a different. It's kind of like for me, I noticed that ryes tend to take on typically finishes better.
Yes,
My
I'd agree with
opinion,
that.
Finishes
Mhm.
than bourbon and corn, like that corn malt, that corn mash bill does. But malt takes it on even better. Like, I agree with you completely. This is the one I'm most excited to talk about, which is the next one.
The two
That-
stacks.
The 2 Stacks 21-year single malt rum finished. So
And it's Cooley distillate, which
Yeah.
is killer stuff.
interesting
for-
because you think that that's a finished whiskey, right? But look at the color on this one versus the other two.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like gold compared to
Mhm.
the other ones,
And it's the oldest.
and it's the oldest. Oh
Oh
wow!
wow, that's completely different than the first two.
Yes. So this is a 21-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. This is Cooley sourced single malt. This was finished in a rum cask, and this was a special bottling done for a Facebook group, and they've done 3 of this in the series, and this one came in a can.
Cat. Whiskey in a can.
Okay, I know I don't mean this offensively at all, but for those of us that grew up in the South with people that dipped, this smells exactly like Copenhagen.
So this
Oh.
is 54.7% ABV. It was really cool to see 2 Stacks. It was neat to see the canning line because they've got like 20 different freaking cans that they're doing now, and to have a 21-year-old Irish whiskey in a can.
Where's Marty when I need him? He would know
So-
exactly what I'm talking about.
What do you know about the process here with them putting it in the can, the inspiration behind it, or what's the story with the can?
The cans, they were sitting around and they noticed about all the cocktails in the can, and they're trying to come up with an idea, and so they decided to can the first release of their whiskey, which is the green one right here, which this one's available in the US. They're working right now to get more widespread distribution in the US, so you're going to start seeing these in a lot more states.
Nice.
You're also going to see the red. I don't have one of the red ones, but they have a red one that is a single pot still double barrel. That one I think is coming to the US as well. We're going to see that one. They've got a single grain. So they just started putting, you got whiskey left over. You don't have enough to do a big bottling run. Just put it in cans. They also did, for our tour, they did a 22-year-old single malt in a can.
Let me see if I can highlight you over here.
So for the tour group,
Nice.
22-year-old Irish whiskey in a can.
I just love that they're not even like putting just like young stuff in a can for fun. It's like, no, we're putting 22,
Oh, no, they're putting the
21
old,
year old
yeah,
stuff.
they're putting anything. They have Irish cream in a can.
Is this
They're
slightly
Irish.
peated, Stacie?
This is, I knew that you were going to pick that up, and this is not peated at all.
It reminds me, so Johnny Walker has like a slight peat on the tail end of the
Mhm.
finish, which I'm getting. I maybe it's not peat, it's just a singular note that I'm expressing as peat, but there is a note on here that throws me slightly off on the tail end. The nose and the palate, the initial front end mint are nice, but that one note, which I don't know what it is a little funky.
I knew that you would get that, and I knew you would. I don't know if that is coming from the rum cask or if it's because it's coming from the double distilled Cooley malt. I do get a Cooley funk sometimes, and this is double distilled, so it could be either of those. I don't know if they I don't think they recharred the rum cask.
I don't know, Donald. I
doesn't say
don't
that.
get a lot of rum tropical notes on this one. If I get any type of tropical note, it's very, very faint, and it would be
Yeah.
pineapple.
There is this almost effervescent brightness that keeps hitting me on the side of the cheeks here that I probably attribute to maybe that rum finish, but that's the main place I get it.
I get a little like pineapple, or like
get the
pineapple
pineapple
tidbits.
tropical.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of the only that, and it's very light. It's very in the background. Towards the end of it, but that's really interesting. That was not what I thought it was going to take, but very interesting and very fun ride. Like you just don't. I don't know. The palate kind of matches the nose, but the palate goes a completely different direction from where your mind thinks it's going to go. For me,
I get a little more tropical in the nose than the palate. I do get that. I still do get that. It's not peat, but it is a little bit of kind of like a barrel char kind of thing going on that Darrell gets.
I mean, it's the same. I think it's the same note Kelsey was talking about earlier. Like that's the note that's getting conflated throughout here as being even construed as peatiness.
And I debated sending you this one instead, but this one is a Bushmills. I'm like, I already gave him a Bushmills. I got to give him a Cooley.
Yeah.
Now the tropical notes, I only get well into the finish. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of left with is that kind of pineapple and honey.
That's my favorite rum cask scotch is that Belvini. That's really good. The 14-year Belvini rum cask is so good.
Oh, like the Caribbean one?
Yeah.
Rum? Found that at one point.
And the darkest one of all. Jeez Louise, that's so dark.
We still got the Cologne too.
Yep.
So you guys know I'm a massive fan of Cologne. I'm chairperson of the Cologne Cult Enthusiast Group. I was super, super excited to go up in the Mourne Mountains and visit Cologne Distillery.
Which one are we doing?
This one is a special bottling that they did for the tour group. This is a 3-year single pot still that has been finished in a Pinot Noir Firkin and then bottled at 57%.
Oh, it's a 3-year?
3 years old.
Huh.
What does that mean? I know what Pinot Noir is, but what's the Firkin?
A Firkin is just a smaller cask.
Okay.
It's like a half cask, quart cask. Yeah, it's a smaller cask.
This is like frosting.
So to get up to Cologne in the mountains, we had to disembark from our tour bus and get on basically like an airport shuttle bus because the road is like this wide. There's no shoulder. And even the bus was like clipping trees all the way up. So we pull in and the people there tell us that Brendan Cardy of Cologne got called away in an emergency. And I'm trying to hold it together. Like, it's okay. I still got to see it. I still get to visit. It's okay. It'll be okay. Well, all of a sudden, a tractor comes pulling a trailer up around the corner with a table on the back of the trailer, and up pops Brendan Cardy dressed as the Pope. So, yeah, we're all cracking up. He's got bottles open, just having us all. They're handing out glasses. We're all going up and getting pours. And he took us up the road a spell to where his warehouse is. Now, his warehouse, as opposed to Bushmills, is the size of most people's 1.5 car garage. It's very tiny. He produces half a cask a week. And the whole time you're walking up, I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful setting up in the mountains. But you're having to look down because this is a farming area. They use this road is for sheep. So they take the sheep from one pasture to the next. You got to watch out. You don't walk in sheep poop. But we got up there. He's opening casks. We got to try a few things. Yeah, the whole building. I mean, I could probably stand and pan in a circle. Even the distillery itself is the size of like my garage. I think my garage might be bigger actually. But they are just producing some amazing stuff. Just Monday, he released his first ever 5-year-old bottle. And that one was Palo Cortado finish.
This is so amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah. He does good stuff. He believes in kind of like a, like natural yeast production. So he'll roll like the mash drum outside, let nature take over with the yeast and then bring it back in and actually pitch the regular yeast in it.
That is probably my favorite so far.
This one's really interesting.
I am so glad I got 2 of these because yeah, this is
That's a crushable bottle. Oh my gosh.
it's so good.
That's my favorite nose too. Like
Yeah.
it's just so creamy and like vanilla frosting mixed with like some nice spice. The citrus peeks through.
This is the first one that
Mhm.
I've actually gotten like that typical sugar cookie kind of note that you typically get on Irish whiskey.
An Irish. Yeah,
I agree
I
with that
get
too,
on
Kelsey.
this one. You know those
Oh,
little
man.
wax Halloween candies that look like a little bottle of Coke?
Oh
You
god,
peel
yeah.
them
Yep.
off. They have like a liquid inside.
Yeah.
That liquid just reminds me of the notes I get on this.
I remember those.
My mind was going down cake and fondant. Darrell was saying icing, but the fondant, which kind of goes with the waxiness too.
Yeah,
It's kind of all in that realm.
yeah. A little waxiness, but then yeah, like a black Coke or that Coke flavoring.
Man, that is really good.
Not good. He's doing some amazing stuff. They're working right now on expanding their U.S. distribution for the rum and raisin. That's kind of their signature bottle. It's I freaking love.
I love the proof point on this.
Oh, all his stuff is proofy. So
I
you know,
love the proof point.
I love Brendan, Sinead, Shenda, everybody at Cologne. So I had to bring them a gift. So actually, I went to Middle West, which is the last time I was there, and got them the distillery release that they just did. That was their soft winter wheat, the pumpernickel rye that was finished in a VDM cask. So I took that over to Brendan, and so a bottle of American whiskey went over there to him. And I think it was Sinead that sent me a picture in the middle of the day and like, see how hard he's working, and it was him drinking that. Like, that's okay. I want you guys to enjoy it.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. Guys, we're going to keep super chats going for another 2 minutes and then we're going to turn them off. So if you guys want to jump in on the super chats, make sure you do that. We've got one more incredible whiskey to taste through that is super dark and fun. Stacie, why don't you tell us about this 20-year?
So yeah, one of our last days there, we got to go to Ecklandville Distillery. They opened up the distillery to us for a quick tour. We had dinner there. They had music, and we had one of the most interesting tasting sessions at Ecklandville with Jarlath Watson. If you don't know the name Dunvilles, they're sherry bombs of Irish whiskey. They're known for big sherry flavors. And they did a tasting session where they actually did samples of 4 different types of sherries. We got to try the sherries themselves. So we got to try a Fino, an Oloroso, a Palo Cortado, and a PX. Then we got to do samples of a 12-year Palo Cortado whiskey and a 23-year PX whiskey that was actually darker than this one that I gave you.
Oh, wow.
I picked this up there. This is a 20-year-old single cask PX finish.
Oh my gosh.
And that is natural color.
Yeah, it's so freaking dark.
It's so
I'm
dark.
falling in love with this sherry right now. Oh my god.
I haven't even noticed it.
we had such a good time. In it, so Jarlath Watson is just he's he's the name behind Dunvilles. He's such a nice man. He got on the tour bus with us, rode back to Belfast. He gets on the tour bus with a backpack, opens up the backpack. He's got an Armagnac that he passed out to all of us. Then a 21-year-old Armagnac finished whiskey that was finished in that cask that he passed out to everyone. And that's going to be one of their upcoming releases. And you're going to be able to get like a small bottle of the Armagnac itself along with their whiskey. But the big thing, I tell you, he's just total class. So our last day, we went back to Dublin, and a bunch of us went to a great cocktail bar in Dublin called Bar 1661. If anybody's going to Ireland, if you find yourself in Dublin, it's like right across the River Liffey from Temple Bar, and you go up like 4 blocks. And they do just these amazing cocktails. And we're all, a small group of us that are friends are there. And we're taking pictures of the cocktails and posting online. And we're Facebook friends with all these distillers and with Jarlath. Well, the server comes over as 2 of our friends are about to leave. And she's like, you can't go. Like, okay. She comes over with a tray of Bon Pachin samples that's made by Ecklandville. Jarlath saw us posting, called the bar and bought us all around. And I'm like, that's just the coolest thing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wild.
You know what's weird about this particular sherry, and maybe y'all get it on others, is that there's such a strong walnut note to this that I get off of the sherry that I haven't gotten a lot, but it's a strong walnut, like a.
Dude,
I tell you the note I get on this one that I actually haven't gotten on, I think a PX before, is cinnamon. I get a lot of cinnamon on this.
You can see that. This one is a little bit more drying than the others, but
Yeah,
not
this is rich. This
Mhm.
is and this is 55.5%. Dunville single cast, they're just amazing.
That's
I've got
so
a
good.
few of them.
Yeah,
That's
this thing
beautiful.
is nuts.
Eggs
Like,
on
I
the
want to
thing.
see if I don't know if my camera's. Yeah, I was doing the same thing. Like, I actually reset it because it was pretty nuts. It looked like
Yeah, you can see it.
50 parallel,
Mhm.
like
It's dark.
rows. Like, I don't even. Oh, can't even really pick it up. You can kind
Yeah,
of
you
see
can
them
see it.
through.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
my
you
face,
can see it.
but there was like
Like a
50
globe
of them.
inside
Yeah.
the globe.
Super duper rich.
Pretty nuts.
You
So
say
they're-
cinnamon for me, but man, this one almost embodies like that Christmas spice. Like when I
Yes,
think of
yeah.
like Christmas ales and things, like it just blooms with all those different spices.
So their 10-year cast strength just won at World Whiskey Awards. Their 20-year Palo Cortado just won Best Single Malt Irish Whiskey at the World Whiskey Awards. I've got the 21-year that won in 2022. They consistently win awards for these single casts. They're so good. They do sherry finishes very, very well.
What's interesting is about all of these, except for the exception of one, I would have probably never guessed that these were Irish whiskeys. I would have said something completely different. But that one has that Irish backbone of,
The
sherry.
Cologne.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but these others are so different, like from each other and just from traditional Irish whiskey in the sense of what people think and know of. So it's really,
And I love the juxtaposition here, because you're going from a 3-year single pot still Irish whiskey to a 20-year single malt, and both of them are equally phenomenal.
And
oh, agreed.
Yep. exactly.
Yeah,
Agreed.
the cologne was really good.
Yeah.
Trying to think what
Honestly,
which order I would work through. Probably almost
The-
backwards.
Copeland and the Dunville actually might be my favorite too. I'll have to work back through this, but
I love Cologne. I love that Cologne so much.
that's probably my 3.
Yeah.
This is a hard one to rank,
I just like the Cole. I can't even say it. The one we just tasted, not the one we just tasted, but
The
one.
Dunvilles or the
No,
Cologne? Oh, the Cologne.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already
Yeah,
being
that's
made up
really,
for
really
saying things, but that was my favorite just because it was taking Irish whiskey of what I think Irish whiskey typically tastes like to another level. And it's incredibly good.
The fact that he's doing it with 3, 4, 5-year-old distillate.
Yeah.
He's doing it well. He's using quality ingredients. He's using quality practices. He double distills everything in worm tub condensers, which is typically what you see in Scotland. So it's just the whiskey that he's producing is just it's all been really amazing.
The nose on D is my favorite. I think the palate on the Dunville is my favorite, but that nose on that Killowen, golly,
Crazy good. Crazy good.
it's just so like just vanilla sweet. That citrus, that
It's
frosting.
even sweeter right now. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Go back to that one after tasting the sherry finished, and it's just like it is. It's like straight up vanilla icing frosting. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Donald, no, it's not. No, the only 10-year that's available in the US is Dunville's PX. The Palo Cortado isn't. That one's only available Ireland. Which all of these distilleries are, you can visit. They're all up in Northern Ireland. Dunville's is great. Shane that owns it, he's got his collection of Mini Coopers. He's got a tank, and he's making whiskey.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
What kind of tank? He just has a
Oh,
tank.
like a big old US like patent tank. As
Oh
soon as
my
you
goodness.
roll into the distillery, you see a huge tank.
Oh man.
It was cold that night. It was kind of cold and windy, so we didn't get a chance to see that. We got to drink whiskey in Belfast Harbor. We got to see where the Titanic and the Olympic were docked. We got to drink whiskey at the Giant's Causeway at the Dark Hedges. It was I was unprepared for how much whiskey we're going to have that week. There was a lot.
You took some liquid IV or some.
I brought a whole
Xerox
pack of
with you.
liquid. Yep, I brought a lot of liquid IV there. I was very hydrated that week.
Yeah, that's the key.
A lot of cocktails. The
Relaxing.
cocktails threw me
Stacie,
off.
thank you so much for sharing all of this
Oh,
incredible.
thank
whiskey
you guys. Thank you guys. This was so much fun. I loved that sample. That rye. That was good.
That was good.
Just
I still can't
proof
believe how
work.
proofy it was. I did not drink that
Yeah.
proofy.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good with proof, and I was a good 7 proof points off, I think, or something like that. But did better than what I thought. Like, I thought my palate was a little fried, so.
I
happy
even
that
had my husband try it, and he's like, "That's low proof."
Oh my gosh. I gotta let my wife smell this one. Oh my gosh. She loves like vanilla frosting, sugar cookie things, and she's gonna love that, smelling it.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back through these. Well, let's get into the giveaways here. I did a quick double check on all the entries. So thank you so much to everybody who contributed tonight. And we have 3 giveaways to go through tonight. I'm going to be giving away a 12 days of Christmas advent calendar. That's actually going to include 12 2-ounce samples.
Sheesh.
Woo.
That's a lot of whiskey.
Kelsey
Merry
is
Christmas
doing
to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Kelsey's doing a Peerless flight, and then Darrell, I forgot again. Darn it.
Sorry, PX.
Redbreast.
Redbreast flight.
That's it.
PX is one of them now.
Yeah.
There is a PX Redbreast in that flight.
All right, let me share screen here. Get into the wheel, and Stacie, I need to know how many times I'm going to randomize this.
Lucky number 7.
All right.
And for those that don't know where to find Stacie and subscribe, it's right there on the screen for you. So make sure you go over and subscribe to her channel, please. You won't be disappointed, I promise you.
Thank you.
All right. For our first giveaway, we're just going to go around the wheel here. Let's do the 12 Days of Christmas, and I will get this one out to you as soon as I can. I am prepared. All right.
Oh,
Doug.
Oh, nice.
Cheers, buddy. I'll get that to you. You've already got some stuff on the way. All right.
Dang.
So now let's do Kelsey's Peerless flight.
These are all single barrel Peerless too, by the way. So bourbon and rye. So it'll be a fun. Jerry Black.
All right, Jerry Black.
I don't know if I've seen his name pop up.
Thanks
on
for
on a win.
jumping in, buddy.
So congrats, man. Do we have Jerry's info?
Jerry, I'll have to check. Jerry, if you're still in here, email me your contact info. I might have it after all this time, but let's make sure.
He is here. So yeah, Jerry, shoot Jeff an email.
So shoot me an email. Hello again, whiskeyfriends@gmail.com. All right. And now for the Redbreast flight.
Who am I sending this to? Tim?
All right.
Oh,
Hey.
Ed.
I got
All
Ed's
right.
info.
Ed, thank you so much for that very generous super chat tonight, buddy.
Yes, thank you so much, Ed.
Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, and hopefully, let me know at I'll actually message you. I'm not sure if he dabbles into Irish, so if you don't, I can always send you something else. But if you do, I think you're gonna like these.
I
Well,
love that
if
Redbreast
he-
PX.
If he doesn't, maybe you can change his mind.
Yeah, I did that a few times with some bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it up. But
Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Stacie, for spoiling us for the last hour. With this delicious flight, I've got to go through it again. I've actually marked all of my glasses here so that I can go back through it.
Thank you guys.
So
This
I'm
was a
gonna-
lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And then thank you to everybody who contributed tonight to the Super Chats or also participated in our Blind Flight Challenge. Can't wait to see what everyone thinks of the week for pour. Stu, I already know what you think. We'll see what the other 19 people think.
he already gave his answer, huh?
He may have been right or wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly right. Mostly right. Kelsey, Darrell, anything else you want to say here?
Just again, thank you, Stacie, for being here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on Whiskey Wednesday. And next week is the Bourbon Ranch. Trev Wilson will be on the channel, and we'll be having some fun with him and hearing about his Germany trip, I'm sure, which he had some awesome experiences in Germany and Austria. Visited some of those places before myself, and I'm jealous that he got to go visit them. So we'll see you guys here back next week. Darrell, Stacie, Jeff, thank you guys for hanging out with me, and it's been fun as always.
It's always fun. Look forward to every Wednesday, man.
Sláinte.
Crappy days turn into good days when we're all together here. But yeah, till next week. All right. Cheers, all you guys.
All right. Cheers, everybody. And thank you again, Stacie. Can't wait to hang out again.
Anytime. This is fun. Sláinte.
It's the cologne.
Sláinte.